Remi had grown up believing that marriage was the doorway to respect, safety, and partnership. She was a bright young woman, 24 years old, gentle in temperament but strong in values. When she married Zayden, a man from a financially stable and well-reputed family, her village considered her lucky. Remi herself had hoped for a life filled with growth and support. But reality, she soon learned, had sharp teeth. In the early weeks, Zayden behaved politely, though coldly. He was the kind of man who cared more about how things appeared than how they truly were. He loved being admired. He loved being praised. And he loved having power even if that power came at the cost of someone else's dignity, especially his wife's. The first time Zayden insulted her in front of relatives, it felt like a slap she had never prepared for. A small gathering, nothing more. Remi had made tea, served cups, and was walking back to the kitchen when she heard him sneer loudly. "Remi, can't you even walk properly without looking dumb?" The laughter from the guests, forced and uncomfortable, felt like daggers. Remi froze, her cheeks burning, her heart collapsing inside her chest. She wanted to disappear, but she kept silent. That silence became his weapon. Zayden repeated the insults every time guests visited. "You're useless. Don't embarrass me. Try not to look like a villager today," her mother-in-law. Isha watched silently, pretending she didn't notice the humiliation happening daily under her roof. She believed wives should adjust no matter what. Remi tried. She tried for peace. She tried for her future. She tried for the marriage she once believed would protect her. But every attempt to please Zayden only gave him more room to crush her spirit. The breaking point came during a dinner gathering, a large one, with business associates and extended family. Remi had cooked an entire feast alone. She had worked since morning. Her hands were trembling, her clothes damp with sweat. When the main dish was served, Zayden took one bite, made a dramatic display of disgust, then shouted, "Is this what you call food? My friends cook better at age 10. What exactly are you good for?" The guests fell silent. Remi stood frozen, humiliated in a room full of strangers. And that was the moment something inside her shifted. The moment something deep within her woke up a flame of self-respect she had ignored for too long. That night, she cried quietly on her pillow, tears soaking the darkness. But crying wasn't weakness anymore. It was cleansing. A storm was being born. Remi whispered to herself, "I may be quiet, but I am not weak. I forgive many things, but disrespect isn't one of them." Her revenge began that night. Remi didn't strike back immediately. Revenge, she knew, was most powerful when silent, slow, and impossible to detect. First, she rebuilt herself on the inside. She started reading motivational books online. She watched videos about self-respect and emotional abuse. She began writing in a secret journal, pouring her thoughts, anger, sadness, and plans into its pages. Then she made a quiet decision. She would rise financially. Emotionally, socially, and Zayden would never see her breaking point again. One day, while cleaning the house, Remi noticed something Zayden had overlooked: his family business documents. Accounts and ledgers lying scattered in a box. Zayden never cared about management. He inherited the business from his father and assumed it would run on its own. Remi, being sharp, spent nights studying these documents. She discovered financial mismanagement, tax issues, and sloppy bookkeeping. The business was profitable, but barely. Zayden would soon face trouble if things kept going this way. She didn't want his downfall. She wanted her empowerment, so she began helping quietly. She rebuilt the accounts. She created organized files. She made summary sheets and reports. She fixed errors. When Zayden saw improvements in the business months later, he proudly took credit, completely unaware Remi was behind the success. But that was fine. She wasn't doing it for him. She was building her confidence, her intelligence, her value. Remi also began sewing clothes at home. She had always been good at stitching. Soon, neighborhood women discovered her talent and came with orders. Her small sewing corner became a micro-business of its own. For the first time in her marriage, Remi felt control, strength, direction. Meanwhile, Zayden continued humiliating her. But something he didn't realize was happening. Remi no longer reacted. He insulted, she stayed calm. He mocked, she smiled politely. He shouted, she remained composed. He wasn't hurting her anymore. He was only exposing himself. People began noticing. Guests whispered. Relatives exchanged glances. Some even defended Remi in front of Zhao Dan. This enraged him. One day he snapped, yelling, "Why aren't you crying anymore? Why didn't you feel ashamed?" Remi looked at him for the first time with strength in her eyes and said softly, "Because shame belongs to the one who disrespects, not the one who is disrespected." Zayden stood, stunned. Remi walked away calmly, and from that moment on, Zayden unknowingly walked right into the web she was carefully spinning. By now, Remi's sewing business was blooming. Women from nearby areas started coming to her. Orders increased. Money began coming in. She saved quietly. She bought a new phone. She learned online marketing. She created a small page for her tailoring designs. She didn't need anyone's permission. Zayden started feeling the shift. People praised Remi's talent. Relatives admired her patience and dignity. Neighbors loved her character, and Zayden, for the first time, felt overshadowed by the very woman he mistreated. His insults started sounding desperate. His dominance began cracking. Remi stopped doing extra things for him. No more running behind him. No more begging for approval. No more tears. Daughter silence became her rebellion. Then came the turning point. One evening, a group of Zayden's business partners came home unexpectedly. They wanted to review accounts. Zayden became nervous. He didn't know the updated accounts, the organized filing system, or the financial summaries Remi did. When the partners asked for details, Zayden stumbled and stuttered. Finally, one of them asked, "Your accounts are suddenly managed so well. Who organized all this?" Before Zayden could lie, Remi stepped forward. "I did." The men looked at her with respect. Zayden's face turned pale. One partner said, "You should keep her in charge. She's more capable than your entire staff." Another added, "If she hadn't fixed these records, your business would have faced legal trouble." Zayden stared at her as if seeing her for the first time. Not as a doormat, not as someone to humiliate, but as a woman more powerful than he ever expected. Humiliation washed over him, not the kind he gave, but the kind he earned. His pride cracked. His ego shattered. His dominance collapsed, and Remi watched silently, not with revenge, with justice. That night, Zayden tried apologizing, but Remi didn't argue. She simply said, "I don't need an apology. I need respect." He couldn't answer, because he knew he had never given it. Remi didn't want to destroy Zayden. She wanted to rebuild herself so powerfully that he could never hurt her again. Her business grew to the point she rented a small shop. Her earnings increased. Women supported her. She built a name for herself. She became independent. Zayden, seeing her transformation, tried to control her again, now out of fear. But it was too late. Remi had outgrown the cage he kept her in. One night, tried mocking her again. This time out of insecurity. "If you leave this house, nobody will care. You're still just a wife of a businessman." Remi smiled calmly. "No, I am a woman who survived a disrespectful marriage and built herself from nothing." Then she placed divorce papers on the table. Zayden froze. You want to leave?" he whispered. Remi answered with quiet strength, "I'm not leaving. I'm freeing myself." He panicked, begged, promised to change, cried, but Remi had given him years of chances. Revenge was not destroying him. Revenge was letting him watch her walk away stronger than he ever imagined. Remi left the house with dignity. Her earnings, her shop, and her unbreakable confidence. She rented a small apartment, decorated it with peaceful colors, and built a new life. Within months, her sewing business became one of the most trusted in the entire town. She hired other women, providing jobs and support. Her story inspired many. Zaydn's single quotes as reputation, however, slowly crumbled. People talked. Relatives judged. Business partners lost trust. Clients walked away. He became known as the man who lost everything, not because his wife failed him, but because he failed his wife. Remi never looked back. Her revenge was complete. She didn't destroy him. She outgrew him. She didn't shout. She succeeded. She didn't break him. He broke himself, and she walked forward strong, independent, respected. The ending was not loud. It was powerful. Zedne lost everything, not because Remi wanted to destroy him, but because he destroyed himself with arrogance and cruelty.